See there, I press return, and you get an extended help in English. The help is not very easy to read because in some cases it gives to you a lot of details. And try to focus on the details that are relevant to you and learn how to forget the details that are not relevant to you. In general, as an engineer, I give you a suggestion. When you learn something and you try to learn something that is complicated in general, you have to get the ability to understand what is the optimal level of learning. You can't learn everything. I tell you this because at the beginning, when I learned softwares, like when I learned R, I was motivated in learning a lot and possibly everything. And then you quickly realize that this is impossible, even with a relatively simple tool like R. So the approach that I am adopting here is not to teach you how to learn everything about R, but just how to learn the minimum that sufficient to perform our exercises. This is very efficient usually. Of course, we run the risk of not learning something that may help us to be more efficient, more rigorous, etc. So you have to really try to gain this sensibility, and in order to gain this sensibility, you have to start from the assumption that the fact that you don't understand something does not necessarily imply that you are not skilled. It may be that you don't understand something because it's not needed to you. So R is a software that is conceived for mathematicians, statisticians. We are not mathematicians, we are not statisticians. So if you don't understand something, don't start from the assumption like, I don't understand, I must understand, because to be a good engineer, I must understand. Of course, even the opposite assumption, like I don't understand, this means for sure that it's something not for me, it's not true as well. So you have to be able to reach the good compromise, and this depends on you, on your ability, on what you are expecting from your career. But it's possible. So, I mean, try to reach this good compromise, and especially in this case, you can really practice. So I need to compute a logarithm, okay. If you read something that is too much, just forget about it. Just think about computing the logarithm, okay? I'm not sure I was clear, and it's not easy for me to say these things in English, but I hope you understood. And don't be discouraged, meaning that even if you don't get oriented at the beginning, you know, that's fine. This is perfectly normal. Okay, so this is how to get help, and the help is very long. Just in order to give you some suggestion, usually you have to look at usage. Okay, so forget about the introduction if it is too long. Go to usage, because this is what you need to do, to use it. Okay, and then read arguments. Details may be something that you may forget. Okay, so look for usage and arguments. Good. Now, some examples of very common function. Square root, exponential, trigonometric function, pi, you know what is pi, cos pi, cos pi minus 1, correct. And tan pi, maybe, not sure if it is, yeah. I don't, let me see, not sure. Okay, I wanted to compute the inverse of the tangent, and I don't remember the name of the function. So in this case, I should go to Google, etc., etc. Let's forget about it, okay? And probably it's inv tan, maybe. No, okay, let's forget about it. And now, an important thing. You don't have undo in R, so let's suppose that I decide to remove the variable c. The function is rmc. And then I say, oh no, I didn't want to remove it actually. I can't undo. Which is something that you may say, but this is very bad, because undo I use it very quickly. But actually now you have other systems to undo. So let me focus on this. First, saving. It's important, like in any program. So let's learn how to save. In R, you may save by typing, just 1 second, save image. Okay? One thing, did you notice that in order to save the function, I plotted save dot I, and then suddenly something happened. I completed the name of the function very quickly. This is done through the tab. The tab in the keyboard is the key with the 2 arrows. The tab allows you to complete names in R. Save image without any argument saves your variables. Now, if I go out of R, Q is quit, the function quit. If I go out, R asks me if I want to save the workspace image. This is a second option to save. Okay, let's suppose that I write no here. And then I come back in R and S. You see that I still have my 2 variables A and B. Why is that? Because I saved them with save image. Okay? If you go out without saving, it's not a problem, but I have to write yes here if I want to save. Everything is clear?
I can ask, why did you tell the Q
Q is quit, you go out.
Ah, okay.
Okay? And of course, if you go out and you don't save, it's a problem. Okay? Okay. Now, a second thing, save image is this save.image is the function to save the variables, but you may want to save another important component, which is the history. Save history. What is the history? First of all, keep in mind that when you go out and R asks you if you want to save the workspace image and you press yes, you save both the image and the history. What is the history? The history is the list of the past commands, and this is a very useful way to undo some operations, meaning that R records all the instructions from the beginning of your session, and the way to get them back is to use arrow up. These are my previously stored instructions, including some that were saved in another session. If you want to list them, oops, be careful about capital letters. For instance, I want to list 10 of them. This is my history of the past 10 this is very useful because you can undo things like I may define C equal 50, okay? And then I may remove it by mistake, remove C. And then I say, oh, I didn't want to remove it, so let me get it back, okay? Go back with the history until you get C equal 50. And of course, if you made a long list of computation, let's suppose that you worked 4 hours and you have a long list of operations that you did, and then suddenly you made a mistake, okay? A mistake that cannot be undone, but requires you to remake the computation from the beginning. So you may say, yeah, I have to work under 4 hours. No, that's not true, because if you have the full list of the operations that you need in these 4 hours, you can repeat it in 1 second. You just have to find the command to tell R, and we will see it, how to repeat all the instructions from the beginning. Okay? And I want to be clearer on that. Let's suppose that I perform 400 operations, but let's, to make an example, let's take 3 of them, like A equal 2, B equal 10, C equal 100. No, sorry, C equal A times B. And then I remove by mistake A, B, and C. And let's suppose that this is a list of 400 operations. How to get them back? First of all, let me say that I'm making an experiment. I never did what I'm doing now, so let's see if I am successful. So there is a function in R which is called source, which means take commands from an external source. And let me try to put here history 4. Not sure if it works, let's see. No. But anyway, this can be done. I'll teach you later how. I want to test this very quick solution, but doesn't work. So let me explain to you later on how we can remake everything by using source. Because source looks for an external source, and then we have first to save history in a file, and then get source. Okay, so what's important, we learned how to save, okay? So you can either go out and select yes, or use save image, save history. Keep in mind that if you have a crash of the PC, nothing is saved. So basically, saving protects you against something bad, like a crash of the PC, like whatever. And keep in mind that if you have a crash in your hard disk, even if you saved everything, you lose everything. So, not now, but when you will be a professional engineer, also keep in mind that your digital security is extremely important, because you may work for 1 year, and then you have a crash of the hard disk and you lose everything. And this happens. I tell you, in 20 years I crashed at least 4 hard disks. So I was lucky that I was protected, meaning backup and maybe parallel computing, meaning that when you save on a PC, you have automatic saving on another PC. It's very easy to do. And it's very easy, as I said, something that we don't learn here, but I tell you it's extremely easy. It's just something that you have to bring in your mind. Not now, because the exercises of sustainable management of water resources, you can repeat them very quickly. So you don't really need to protect yourself against digital risks now. But when you start working, this is one of the first things that you should do. Okay, now saving is done. Okay, I think we can move to loading an external file. What do I mean? Of course, we learned how to define variables a equal to fine. But let's suppose that we have to upload, because we want to compute the flow duration curve, the data of the Po River that are contained in the text file that I passed to you. These are 365 times 90 years. These are like 32,000 data. Of course, you cannot put in your keyboard 32,000 data. You can do it, but it's not very efficient. So the solution is that we have to tell R to go read the file and upload the data. This is something that is a bit complicated. In Excel is not complicated. You can open a text file and then there is a conversion working on it. And in this case it's a bit more complicated. First of all, what I suggest to you is to look at the text file that you want to upload. So we downloaded a zip, and let me double click on this text file. You see it's up there. If you double click on it, in this case I am, let me first of all export it to uncompress it and just put it in Documenti, as I said, okay, in Documents. And in my case, let me extract it here in my desktop. Okay. Just 1 second. And then I go to my desktop and I open it. Please do the same. Extract the file in Documenti, go to Documenti and double click on it. Okay, this is the file, and you should find the same thing. It should get opened by Blocco-Note, and you should see these numbers. Now you see that it's just a list of numbers in one column. This is the easiest thing. To upload this file is quite easy. How to do it? First a question. Is it clear to all of you what we have to do now? We have to upload this file that is saved in Documenti. Okay? Try to do this simple thing. Po River flow. This is the name of a variable. You can decide whatever name you want. Equal to. Let's try to use this function, scan. Scan, it's intuitive what it means. It means please scan something. In this case, I want to scan a file. I need to give the file name between, I don't know how to say in English for the double apostrophe.
Quotation?
Quotation, yeah, sorry. So I open the quotation. And I remember that the file name is Po Ponte Largo Scuro, whatever. Try to push the tab. You see that in my case doesn't happen anything. In your case, something happens. Okay? If something happens, close the quotation, close the parentheses, and return. And then let's make a statistic of how many of you succeeded. In my case, it didn't happen. Okay? What about you? How many? How many succeeded? 1, 2. If you succeed, it should tell you like uploaded 32,000 and something data. Okay? Just 2 of you. No, 3.
I got
4.
like a plus at the beginning of the line.
A plus. A plus means, let me see. What is the plus? No, because you forgot to close either the quotation or the parentheses. Try with the parentheses and then the rest.
How do I delete it? Because you continue getting.
Okay, Ctrl C. Oh, yes. Okay, try again and go up with the tab. No, you can go up with the tab. No, with it, okay. So, yeah, but you don't have any, yeah, you don't find a file, yeah. Okay, so, let's focus, those of you who didn't succeed, okay, let me ask you again the question. Did you put the text file, not the zip, the text file in Documenti or Documents? Is it there? You are sure? Okay. And let's make an experiment. Let me think. Just 1 second, because I need to make a check myself. Okay, can you please do this for me? Just write system and I don't remember. Try to do this, please, and let's see whether you find something. System dir with the quotation. Doesn't work for nobody. Also the people who succeeded. Can you please try this command and tell me if it works? No? I don't remember what is in Windows the command for. Can you please give me a Windows PC to play a little bit? And I take a seat here, give me yours. Okay. Give me 1 second, because I have to go back to my Windows experience. posso chiedervi siete italiani, vero? Perché non trovo in documenti il file. Perché ho cliccato su documenti e forse questo devo guardare qui, l'avete messo qua?
Ah sì,
Ok, proviamo un attimo per fare così.
perché cercavo in
Però OneDrive è strano,
strano.
è strano, sì. Vediamo un attimo, ma non credo.
E il default serve in documenti.
Poi qui manca, andare un attimo solo. Sì, il default dovrebbe cercare i documenti, però non è detto. Ok, allora vediamo un attimo. Ok, probabilmente non lo cerca in documenti, ma lo cerca in quindi praticamente documenti sotto username. Okay, so the problem is that there are several directories in Windows called documenti or documents, and one has to identify the right one, and it should be the directory documents under your username. So when you save it, I suggest you that you open your file manager, okay, in Windows. You know, everybody knows what a file manager is, correct? It allows you to move files from one directory to another, okay? And you should look under Drive C. Under Drive C, if you click over Users, you should find your name. Click on your name, and you find a directory called Documents. Okay, the file should go there. The text file should go there. And the problem is that, as I said, there are several directories called Documents under Windows. This is not efficient. So after you move the file there, if it's not already there, but I guess it's not already there, and then you should be able to find it with scan. Once you succeed, please raise your hand, so I get who is still. You succeeded?
No.
Okay, in Mac. This is a bit. Let me see. Mac is even different. So let me just check.
Because I have it here now in documents.
In documents, okay. Can you please right click and properties? Is something like the information on the file or because
it's in Swedish.
okay. And can you please click on all of them? So none, okay, comment, okay. Because we should identify the path and give out the path. So can you please right click again? And no, not that. And data, what is data? Share, okay. And Orna Markerat, what is this?
Yes, small.
Okay, and Lisa, what is?
Show.
Show. Tagar, what is Tagar? Let me click on it, please. No, okay. So we should find just please give me the PC 1 second. And so R is here. Okay, let me see. It's working within applications. It's working. Okay, so file is it's not as well. You put it under document, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
They found it. Okay. Okay. Are you okay? Did you find it? Or yes, okay. So did you find it? Yeah. Okay. And you're okay, correct? Okay, so it's only okay. Let me see. It's Windows, correct?
Yeah, it's Windows.
It's French, okay, but I think we can manage.
Click on the folder that has a text one on the
It's
here. But
what is
click in the
your
folder.
username?
And then open.
Quarantine, the drive.
No,
Public, no,
thank you.
Yeah. Let me, I think I can.
Progetto sempre poi il quarto. Sì. Io per esempio mi ha validato solo 6 crediti con 9, quindi teoricamente dovrei fare solo progetto.
Queste cose le fanno proprio.
Cosa diretto di code
Penso di
document,
andare
correct?
dalla direttrice di corso di studio, come si Simone e scuole. No, sono qui dentro da troppo tempo.
So what did you No, the file code oscuro is I saw it.
No, completamente diverse, ma
Where did you put the file for code oscuro? Okay, it's here.
in Italia, l'azienda di Modena, cioè se vai in Abruzzo, cioè
Okay, it's under our
Se uno se magari lo ha usato lì, dice vabbè, posso anche farlo, possono imparare a usare un programma, 2 programmi, 3 crediti di roba, cioè,
Can you please go in
robe che l'esame di Stato, il nostro, sarà sull'esame di perché io non so niente. sì, non sì, no, infatti ho dovuto imparare l'inglese prima di partire e di rimanere. Esatto, quindi diciamo che non solo il gioco sul tempo prima della partenza di imparare l'inglese, ho dovuto saltare la sessione per mettermi a studiare, fare la lotteria, poi una volta che ero là dicevo che è successo questo, per dire però ho dato 2
la gente che so che va in Erasmus, questo che non è che si ammazza proprio gli studi in genere.
Okay, if you just cut it. Okay, and then, okay, you got it, just a second, I want to make sure. We can make it.
But the translator. No, the English one now is cheap for Edward. That's so pretty cool. Because now it's cool.
And if you close the quotation and
Sir,